Hi, so today I'd like to talk about my submission for the DigitalOcean Kubernetes Challenge. So what I built over the last couple days was just a small application that allows a user to hit an endpoint that returns the locations of all the buses matching the route ID associated with that endpoint. So in this case, Route 1040 has 4 buses out, and they're at these locations respectively. But what I want to talk about specifically is deploying Redis to my Kubernetes cluster, because Redis is sort of at the core of all of this. So let's just close that. So I deployed a Kubernetes cluster to DigitalOcean using Terraform, and then went out looking for a Helm chart that kind of met all of my requirements. One, I wanted high availability, and I wanted data persistence, and I wanted to be able to ship logs to Prometheus. Ship metrics to Prometheus, logs to Loki. So found one from VMware that did pretty much everything that I was looking for. Just needed to read up on how it passed values to the configuration file for Redis. And then enabled high availability using something called Redis Sentinel. Redis Sentinel just means that one node acts as a writer, the other nodes act as readers, and each pod has an extra container that sort of manages all of this leader election, checking if the master is up, making sure that writes are propagated, things like that. For data persistence, there's sort of 2 modes that Redis can use for persistence. One is AOF, append-only file. The other is RDB, which is an occasional dump. I had to do some reading to make sure that I could use both in concert with one another. So with both activated, you never lose data, and you have relatively fast restarts from a downed container or a downed pod. This is really positive for me. Just makes it really resilient. You never lose data. Then I also enabled monitoring. Like I mentioned, I want to tap Prometheus up, and it's pretty much just as simple as tacking on metrics enabled true, and then adding an extra annotation to the pods. So most of the write-up is just going through the actual steps that I used to verify all of this, but that's not so interesting. I want to share sort of what this looks like. So I relied pretty heavily on this Kubernetes Starter Kit developers repo to sort of do everything except for the Redis bit, the logging and the ingress bits. And I can just share my dashboard. It's got a few namespaces, ingress nginx, which is how I expose this endpoint, monitoring, which is where I put Prometheus, Grafana, Loki, things like that, and then Redis, which is obviously where all the Redis pods live. So configure Prometheus to have a Redis monitor, a Loki monitor, a Promtail monitor, as we talked about, and then also kind of more usefully deployed Grafana so we can visualize all of these metrics and see these logs. So I mean, this is just out of the box dashboard. I didn't make it. I don't think that this is right, but it's just helpful to be able to see the metrics and see the performance of your cluster. So Grafana, it's got 3 nodes that are being monitored, and then we also have Loki running, and we can see that there are occasional RDB writes. So that's about it. Learned a lot. There's probably a lot more steps that I need to take to productionize this and make it really tight. But for a few days, learned a ton. Really happy that got to have this experience. Thanks for listening. Happy New Year.